So, as you can see, I've deleted some of my code here. I've essentially just left myself off with the my number, my word, and the random importing. So, how are we going to take one letter from this at a time and rearrange it? Okay, so here is where it's gonna get tricky, because you are essentially going to have to make a blank word to start off with. And I'm just gonna name this scrambled, because by the end of it, it will be scrambled. You could name this my new word, my other word, you could name it whatever you want. But the point is, it's starting off as empty. It's just a string, but it's a string of nothing. There's nothing inside those quotation marks. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take one letter at a time from this word and put it into this word. And how are we going to do that? Well, you're probably thinking I could do a bunch of if statements, or I can do a while loop. So while, and here's another part where it's going to get a little understandable. While my word, colon. Now, that doesn't look like an equation. That doesn't look like I'm equaling something. What does that mean, my word, colon? Well, my word is this word, hamburger. So it's saying while my world exists. So does my word equal something? Yes or no? Basically, I have just taken this string and I'm using it as a Boolean. Okay? Because once this equals nothing, once it's blank, the loop will end. So, I have now converted a string into a Boolean. And of course, if I hit enter, I'm now indented in, so whatever is inside my while loop will happen there. And speaking of which, I'm just going to change my number so that now it is now inside my while loop. So, there's that. So now, while my word exists, we're going to take a number, random range, len my length. So, of course, if I were to now simply do something like print my number, why not? Or actually, let me print... Yeah, if I print my numbers, it's going to give me random numbers. So let's just do that. Print my number, execute. It'll keep going, and it's an infinite loop, as you can tell. So let me just delete that, execute. So, and of course timeout because interactive mode option, yay, there we go. So now, of course, if I were to do that, I would get myself a random range. Why? I would get myself random numbers over and over and over again. Why? Because my word is still existing. We're not actually deleting anything from this. And we're also not adding anything to this. So, same thing would apply instead of getting random numbers if I simply did print my word bracket my number, end the squarely brackets, I will get a random loop, but this time I'll get a random loop of all the numbers, because instead of using the integer, I'm using the string position of the integer. So you'll still get yourself this whole random thing of everything. So let me just delete that, execute just to stop the random loop from happening. It'll give me an error in a few seconds. So instead, though, we're going to have to wind up, stopping it from doing this whole timeout problem. So, what we'll have to do to avoid ourselves our random loops is, first off, we need to put something in scrambled, right? So let's make scrambled, and then plus equals, because you remember what plus equals means, right? So scrambled is going to equal itself plus something. What is it going to do? Well, I could make it simply be, my word, position, square brackets of my number. So now my scrambled is going to simply be the random length of my word. So the random letter of my word is going to be added to that little blank area. And every time it does the loop, it's going to add another random word. Another random letter. So, in showcasing this off, this will be what it will wind up looking like if I were to simply, print scrambled. Whoops. We'll still get ourselves an endless loop because we're not deleting anything from hamburger yet, but you'll see that it keeps adding different random letters. We started out with R, then we went RR. It keeps picking random things and keeps adding to it. So, in an essence, we have in fact, and you can also see here that looking how much it likes to repeat the R's, you can even see that, once again, the concept of random numbers is not necessarily true in a computer. It's not perfectly random. So, once again, we'll just delete that, execute. But you see, we're getting closer. We've successfully taken stuff from hamburger and moved it into scramble. Now we're going to get to the hardest line to code. So yes, this is essentially 3 lines of code. Just 1, 2, 3. But making this delete itself is a very unusual concept, because you have to make sure you specifically delete the very same thing that you can do. And I'll showcase that in the next video.